Healthcare in the Philippines. Not many people are thinking about it in the right way. I don't think you're really understanding completely. So like Americans, which is the largest part of my audience, like 55%, I think they may understand like definitely the money aspect, because for them, you know, hearing that like a quadruple bypass and spending a month in the hospital will cost in the Philippines, I don't know, 25 to say up to 35,000, pretty rare to see that high, dollars. That's a month in the hospital, quadruple bypass, all the surgeries, everything, right? And back in the America, without insurance, you know, how much would that cost? I actually don't know for sure, because I've never had, all the times I never needed any medical care in the United States. But you guys can put down in the comments, and I think people will be sharing like big numbers, right? Like I'm sure it's going to be in the hundreds of thousands, maybe, or over $100,000. Yeah, it's very expensive. And so a lot of you hear that, okay, yeah, healthcare's cheaper in the Philippines, and if you're near a big city, you can still get very good healthcare. And then recently, like Catherine, you know, she just had that surgery. Plus another friend of mine had surgery recently, and he stayed overnight and everything. You know, it was like 75, 80,000. Then everybody's gonna need a quadruple bypass, right? So 75, 80,000 pesos. So you're looking at like anywhere from 12 to 1,500 US dollars. You're not gonna get that back in America, right? But then you have the Canadians like myself. You have the British, the Germans, Australians, you know, those kind of places where they have that free socialized healthcare, right? And so for them, they hear these things and they're like, whoa, that's insane. I don't pay anything. I pay nothing. I just go and buy my prescriptions, but you know, without any insurance, I don't pay anything. And so for them, it's a big deal to hear that the Philippines, you could get stuck with a $25,000 or $35,000 bill if you have a quadruple bypass and spend a month in a hospital. And so that's the part that most people, that's the part where they're at, right? Like that's all they see in all of these videos. But the truth is as a Canadian, I was, I'm gonna sit down over here. By the way, nice beautiful day here on Saturday, Roxas City, Capiz. A lot of people enjoying the beach, and the restaurant just opened. Got one nice couple over here. All right, so this is by the way, the Canadian Beaver, right across from San Antonio, where we hold the expat meetup second Sunday every single month, 3 p.m. Just come over here. We try to pack the place. It's rainy season. We haven't had rain in forever, it feels like. But yeah, it's a little slower nowadays, but we still get like 44, 45, 60, you know. But in busy season, it'll be over 100 people. So anyway, off topic. So as a Canadian, it got really bad in Canada. Now you guys can tell me, is it the same in Australia, Great Britain, Germany? And when I would need to go to a family doctor, I had a family doctor when I was younger, but then once he retired, he couldn't find any family doctors that would take on his patients. There was just not any more family doctors. And so I had to go to walk-in clinics for probably the last 20 years of me living in Canada, was just walk-in clinics. And there you wait like 3-4 hours sometimes, huge crowds of people, just sick people everywhere, coughing and sneezing and everything, just a mess, just to go see a family doctor. And then I would be like, oh, I've got, you know, psoriasis or whatever, I'm showing him this rash, you know, sort of thing. And he doesn't even know because they're not dermatologists. So he's like, okay, I'll give you a referral to a dermatologist. Well, that dermatologist would be, you know, 4, 6, 8 months is the next booking that you could get an appointment with a dermatologist. That's how long you would have to wait to get a dermatologist. And a neurologist, because I have trigeminal neuralgia, and that was only because of a hospital eventually figured out what I had. And, you know, that's a complex neurological thing. And the neurologist was something like 14 months to get an appointment with a neurologist. That's how free healthcare seems to work. It's just limited resources because it's free for all. So everybody goes in and everybody wants something, even if it's small and doesn't really need a doctor. And I think that plays a big part in that whole thing. So now I'll tell you why the Philippines is like way, way better. You already know the costs and you have to understand that, okay? That's going to be the costs. And if you're ever looking for like travel insurance for health and health insurance, that kind of thing, I have a resources free page to help people with like, not just that, it's got everything. It's got the links to all what the airlines are here, to the different money apps and everything that you can help you move. And that's thatparadiselife.com. Okay, it's completely free. Just go there and you will see in resources. You can just put in your age and everything will tell you how much it is for a month for health insurance, that kind of stuff. But there's all kinds of other things. Off topic again, but on topic. So here in the Philippines, I can go to, well, pretty much anything and get treatment almost instantaneous. Now, you guys remember I used to have a mole, a really big mole right here. I used to have another one right here. Well, I go to this place, it's called Derma World, and it's right downtown. And an awesome dermatologist works there. And she is like available like so quick. Like the first time I went there was nobody, so I just went straight in. I think the second time I went there, I might have waited 5 minutes. And then yesterday, I was just back there again I had this one that grew right on my eye. I don't know if you guys can see anything. Anyway, it was getting pretty big and it was like a big skin tag hanging off my eyelid. And you don't normally notice it because my eyelid's open, right? But if I close my eye, you could see it. And you know, the process is so quick, right? Where they it's like this laser thing or whatever, and they take it right out. And great care, great everything. And I waited the longest I ever waited, 15 minutes, because there was 2 other people. There's no appointments. You just go in. And the difference is like in Canada, I would have to have a referral to go to a dermatologist, but that's not here. Here you can just go to the dermatologist, and in like, especially here, I can just walk in, no appointments, no nothing, not just me or anybody. Everybody can go in without an appointment, and you'll get treated right away. And so the cost of these things is like $25, $20, that kind of thing. It's, I can't remember, what was it yesterday? I think 12 or 1,400 pesos, something. I think it's 1,400 pesos. So that's super cheap. That's $22, $23 to get that done. And so as a Canadian, knowing that you have, 4 or 5 months, all this to see a dermatologist, and yeah, it's free, but what would you pay to have it taken care of immediately? And that's no different than you go to the cardiologist office, you go to the, what else do they got here? Oh yeah, like for the ladies, like Catherine, they have the OBGYNs, right? And you would have to make an appointment, take a long time to find one, all that stuff. For here, you can walk right in and see her within 5-10 minutes, like she did, without another doctor first to prescribe it to her. And neurologists, same thing. You just have to go to a city. But the funny thing is people who say, oh yeah, but you know, it's so hard to find them or whatever in the Philippines. And I'm like, if you live in the country in the middle of nowhere, all the neurologists are going to be in the city anyway. So that's not that much difference. It's just here, the access, the availability for these kind of things are instant. You want stem cell injections done, go to St. Luke's, and they can do the stem cell stuff. So you can get really, really high-tech stuff done here too. So it's not like just the price. Price sucks as a Canadian, I get it. And I'm sure it would be the same for all the other socialized healthcare places, that it's just like, that's something I wouldn't have to pay for. But you have to also like put it in context of everything else. Like if you're paying for a health insurance and it's going to cost you $60 a month, for example, or $80 a month, I don't know, depending on your age, maybe $100 a month. Even if it was $200 a month, how much are you saving on your rent, all your cost of living here? Like you can buy a brand new car that's $25,000 back home. That's the same car made by Toyota or whatever, made for the Philippines at $14,000, brand new. The same car. So the cost of the healthcare is like one of those things that is easily made up for. But then the actual availability of getting like specialists and stuff like that by just showing up in a city, I think more than makes up for it. Because even MRI, like I had an MRI done in Canada of my knee, and it was, I think 4 months. I could be wrong, could be 6. That the next slot was available to get my knee MRI'd, and that was free, but I had to go, like, if you don't know Canada, like the far end of Toronto. I didn't live in Toronto, so the other cities on the other side of Toronto, to all the way to the other side of the city of Toronto. And so, yeah, it was 3, 4 in the morning, there was any traffic, but it was still a good 100 kilometers away, that kind of thing, from my home to go at 3 or 4 in the morning, 4 months later, 6 months later, whatever it was, to get that MRI done, sit in that hospital. And they book so many people for the same appointment time. And so you all sit in this waiting room and you're super tired and just want to get out of there. And you got to wait for them to call your name to get that MRI done. And then book again with your doctor for him to read the MRI. Could take another month. So I know there's big advantages of socialized healthcare. I never had to have any money in my pocket going to the hospital. But, that comes at a price. And so for the Americans, you should know that you can get full access. But I feel like, I may be wrong, but in America, I think you can do the same thing. You just walk over to a dermatologist and walk in and just say, yeah, whenever the next one is, I'll go in. And I think they probably have that too, same with neurologists, that kind of thing, because they are a pay-to-play sort of country that access is probably not restricted. You guys can tell me in the comments, but that's how I imagine it, is that like you can, like your hospitals don't have 10-hour waiting rooms for emergency room, right? Like there's not 10 hours of people, where in Canada it could be 20 hours of people, like really, really long waits to get any help in an ER. I think American hospitals, because it's pay to play, I think it goes pretty quick. So for you guys, it's just the price. The price is fantastic. Even if you have a healthcare plan in America, the actual cost of that healthcare plan, regardless if it's covered by your employer or you, would probably be $500 a month. I've heard it's as high as like $800, $900 if you have a wife or something like that per month that you're paying into this healthcare plan, regardless if your employer pays part of it. And so you're never going to need that here. And that's the thing. Like when you guys are choosing like a health insurance plan, don't go, oh wait, it's only this much more to go to 2.5 million US dollars. If you don't plan on traveling to the more expensive countries where healthcare is going to be like American prices, don't waste your money on that, because there's nothing here that's going to even touch that. There's nothing here that's probably going to touch $50,000. And so having that crazy amount of insurance, just waste your money. Just get that. And often it's recommended that since the doctor's visit is going to be a regular doctor, like $8, a specialist might be 1,000 pesos, so less than 20 bucks, so $16. Really, do you really need a health plan that covers your regular doctor visits, your regular dentist visits that are same thing, $20, $30, that kind of thing? No, you probably don't. You're probably better off to just take, like they usually call it, essential or emergency, that kind of thing, so that if something serious happens to you, you're covered. But don't get the stuff that's like, oh, it's going to cover every little thing. Also here in the Philippines, all major drugs, like, when it comes to like blood pressure, that kind of thing, they have price restrictions on all of those drugs. And so often the same drug you might get in America, as long as it's not the latest and greatest, it's only available in America, will be, significantly cheaper here in the Philippines. It might be just pennies a pill here, but back in America, it's $3 a pill. And so you're already saving a huge amount on that. And so often, and let's be clear, most health insurance companies won't cover pre-existing conditions. What they'll do is they'll say, okay, the one that's meaningless and will barely ever cost us anything, we're going to cover that, but we're not going to cover your bad heart and all this stuff you've had before anyway. And so make sure you have a savings plan for that kind of thing. If you're in that certain risk group, the insurance companies are there to make money. It's not socialized healthcare. So it's all about profit, profit, profit. And if you do become a permanent resident, get your SRV visa, then go ahead and get the PhilHealth if you're in that critical situation, because at least you can go to a provincial hospital and get, a good part of it, if not all, depending on what hospital you choose, of the care paid for. And it's so cheap, and that's a socialized healthcare system, right? And so that way you can be covered, and you can still get your private and PhilHealth, and that way you're double protected. That would probably be best. Plus you get discounts on like prescriptions and stuff like that also if you have PhilHealth, but you have to be a permanent resident to get PhilHealth. So once you become an actual permanent resident here, like a retirement visa. So anyway, I want to hear your comments because, like I said, I only had healthcare done in Canada. I only had, I had an American girlfriend once, and she needed healthcare in Canada, and so she had to pay the Canadian, or the official price, not the free healthcare price. And it was still pretty cheap. She had just broke her arm and needed a little sling or whatever, and it was, 15, 20 minutes in with the doctor and all that stuff. And I think it was $400 Canadian, so about like 300 US dollars. Where that same thing here would not cost anywhere near that. So I think the paying price in Canada is still quite expensive, it's just Canadians don't pay. So anyway, Catherine is getting much better, for those that are wondering. We went for a date night, a first actual date night, and we went down to Black Sands, had dinner, and then we went over to the movies and saw the Spider-Man movie finally. There were 6 other people in the theater, so it's starting to wane off. That movie's been out for a long time now. But hopefully soon we'll be able to get on the bike or rent a car, whatever, and start traveling again, because we had plans that we have to now reschedule when she's feeling better. I think we might be getting close. Maybe in another week she'll be like, okay, I'm ready to go, and that'll be great. It'll be great. There's so many places I want to go and so many things I want to see. And anyway, so I look forward to reading your comments, guys, there. Don't forget, if you're looking for rentals, everything, it doesn't matter what, the health insurance stuff and everything, the links are always in thatparadiselife.com. It's free, has a quiz in there, which will really help you figure out where the best place to live anywhere in the Philippines is. And check it out. Check it out. All right, thanks, guys. See you later. Bye-bye.
So hi guys, we're at the next hotel. Look at this. Nice. And do you want to see everything? Look at this. There's a fish and a fish and lots of fish over here. There's the fish and all kind of things though. This is a turtle. And a fish. And she got a, what's that called? Octopus. And sometimes it's like crab. They're not real crab. So someday I swim. Yeah. So also bye-bye. See you later, everybody. Mwah.
And I find myself wondering what did happen to the last 10. I ran away with my life, fast forward, never turn back again. It's kind of funny that the more we pass time, the more we need to set the rewind. And I